No, I think the beautiful thing is, my parents got a loan for me to come over, had to wait a bit for a trial, and I think that's why I'm so committed to football and playing, at the highest level for as long as possible, because, it was so hard to become a footballer in Australia, and to be a professional, it's sort of like the reward for your parents believing in you.
What was special about Millwall? What started the love affair once you got that trial?
It was them investing everything into me, the players, the staff, the fans, and then, pretty much when you make your debut, them adopting you and believing in you. I was lucky enough to create special moments with the club and to never forget them. So I learnt my apprenticeship here, and I'm indebted to them forever. The biggest thing about playing for our football club is the intensity, the commitment, the passion. So you see the stability the gaffer's brought to the team since he's been here, and the lads that he's injected into the side. I couldn't be more proud to be here.
Just tell us a bit about the decision-making process. Who contacted who?
I contacted the gaffer, and I pretty much said to him, I'm thinking of coming back to England to test myself, and I feel the Championship's one of the toughest leagues outside the Premiership. My job's to be around the lads, the youngsters, the older players, and help them on and off the park, but also when injected into the game to help help the team get the right results. So fans know what they're going to get. They're going to get a hard-working Tim Cahill that, I'm not the same as I was when I was 16 when I signed here, but I'm committed.
Every biog anybody reads about you, they always describe you as a box-to-box midfielder.
Yeah.
Are you still a box-to-box attacking midfielder?
No problem. So, I think it's being smart in the final third. This team creates a lot of chances, and the high intensity, and it's a lot of long balls, but it's not really changed, other than maybe cultured a little bit more. And you see, we'll be playing Cardiff, and I think they're the land of the giants, and these guys play just as much long balls as anybody, and it works in this division. And when you play against other teams from higher, it can definitely cause a lot of upsets.
You've signed till the end of the season. It's a relatively still short length of time, but what would you like to achieve with Millwall in that time? What is achievable, Tim?
We have to start moving up the table, making sure we're safe, see how high you can get yourself, because you want to try and contribute as much as possible as a player. This is a short-term goal that fits perfect for my scenario, and I'll never say closes the chapter, because this one will never be closed with Millwall. It's just the romance keeps growing, I suppose.
How will it feel to make your second debut here? How special a moment will that be?
It's very special, because this is where I used to play, on this pitch just here, as a youth team player and banging goals. And then I got the chance to play over there the other day against Coventry and feel the same thing about hitting the back of the net. And those baby steps, it helps with the professionalism, it helps with the mind. And when I step out there, it'll be an amazing feeling, but I'm not emotional with football when I'm on the pitch. It's business. And then after, you can think about the emotional stuff once it's done. So, who knows when the debut is going to come, but, I'll make sure that I'll give myself every chance, physically, with my preparation, like I have been the last 7 to 10 days.
Yes, Tim Cahill's career now done a full circle. He joined Millwall as a 16-year-old back in 1997, scoring 57 goals in 250 games, including the one that took Millwall to the 2004 FA Cup final. Left for Everton after that final, played around the world. And look at that record for Australia, 104 caps, 50 goals. He's actually looking to become just the 4th person to score in 4 successive World Cups. The other 3, Uwe Seeler, Miroslav Klose and Pele. That'd be some company to keep, wouldn't it? Paul, you were a youngster at Millwall when he was making a name for himself. Tell us about the player and the man.
Yeah, I think he brought that typical Aussie mentality, that really strong sporting spirit, and just had that drive, that inner drive. Maybe wasn't always kind of obvious on the outside, but you could see that he was going to go far in the game, and obviously, but then to achieve what he's done in his career is magnificent, and it's great to see. And I think now coming back, he provides that inspiration for the squad now, for the players that are there. I think he's given the whole club a lift, sort of on and off the pitch. And you look at Millwall's midfield tonight; it's got an average age of 24 and a half, which for him to come back and offer his experience, and like you say, George Saville's having an excellent season so far, Jed Wallace as well, and you know, if he can offer any guidance, any advice, and just kind of show them what it takes really to have a long and successful career in the game, it would just be fantastic for the whole club, and you know, who knows where it can go over the next sort of, you know, 6 months to a year.
Keith, he wants to play regularly to get to the World Cup. What are the chances of him playing regularly?
When he came back, I just felt I had a nostalgic feel about it. And I'm trying to figure out where he fits into the team. Neil likes to play in a 4-4-2, a very rigid 4-4-2. It will give him the option of tweaking that ever so slightly. He can play upside alongside of Morrison. He won't play in two of the centre midfielders. Those box-to-box days that he mentioned with David Craig, they're long gone. He's a goal-scoring, attacking midfielder, stroke second striker at this stage of his career. I think his biggest attribute is what's going on between his ears. His steeliness, his determination and his attitude, the career that he's forged out, and still the desire to keep going at this age must be infectious in that dressing room, and I'm sure that's what Neil is after. I do think he'll play a part between now and the end of the season. How big it's going to be, I'm not so sure.
He sounds like the perfect Millwall player, doesn't he? I mean, Neil Harris knows him, of course. They were teammates back in the day. He knows exactly the type of mentality the player, if not perhaps the box-to-box player, but what he can give, as you mentioned, to the youngsters coming through.
Yeah, that's right, and I think that he's obviously mentioned as well, when he was coming through as a youngster, he was obviously mentored by the older players as well, and it's one of those, it's kind of history repeating now. He'll become the teacher to these younger players, and you know, you've even got people like Ben Thompson, who I've sure seen, massive local Millwall fan, and seen and saw all those, you know, special times, and you know, for him to be training and working alongside Timmy is only going to benefit him. But like you say, Chopper and also Livers, who played over 200 games in midfield with Timmy in that midfield, you know, they'll know everything about him, they'll know what he brings, and like you say, I just feel like the whole thing is such a romantic story, and you probably wouldn't put it past him coming on tonight and scoring the winner, because he always seems to have that knack of scoring those special goals at important times, and like I say, hopefully the stage is all set up for him to score the winner tonight.
Well, he might not start many games, but he might come off the bench and score goals, as Paul was just saying, and that's absolutely, you know, goal
crucial, yeah, and especially with the position Millwall are in, as you're saying there, firmly they're looking forward, they're not looking behind him, they want to finish as high as possible. He's a steely, determined character. He can sniff a goal. We were chatting, well, where is he going to play? I don't think he can play midfield, but certainly if you're chasing the game, can you go to three of them? Can you imagine trying to contain the two that are starting tonight and Tim Cahill, long balls going in? He'll have that ability just to sniff the right area out. Johnny on the ball, bang, calmest composure personified, and he's got more than one eye on the World Cup, so he'll be doing everything in his power to get in that team straight away.
Yeah, I think he realises that his biggest influence perhaps on the Australian squad is being an impact sub. I think obviously that would be his initial role here, and if he can kind of convince the Australian manager Bert van Marwijk that, you know, that's what he can provide, that can hopefully only strengthen his cause of making that fourth World Cup, like you say.
Former teammates, now manager of him, of course. Let's hear from Neil Harris with David Craig.
Neil, start with the team news. You've made some changes tonight. Tim Cahill starts on the bench. How close to starting him were you?
Nowhere near it. He's not, nowhere near finished to start a game of football at the moment. We just feel his experience, his influence on the bench, in the dressing room, and coming off the bench could be vital tonight in what's going to be a hostile game. It's going to be an aggressive game. I think it'll be a tight game of football. I think a little bit of quality might just change the game at some stage.
You're in a rich vein of form. What do you put that down to at this moment?
Spirit in the camp. Good players, definitely good players. People wrote us off early, and that irritated us. And it took a while to find our feet in the division. It's a ruthless division with some excellent players and really good teams. But we've been in every game. We're certainly enjoying it. Again tonight, it's a massive game, another challenge against a team that spent £6 million on a striker in the window. We look forward to every game.
You mentioned it will be a battle out there tonight. How important is it that your players win their first battles in an encounter such as this?
Well, I think you've got a big, strong, tall, physical Cardiff team coming to the Den. We know we have to stand strong against that. Naturally, we're on the front foot and played that way anyway, so it will be a battle, but we can also play as well. We've got some quality. Cardiff are where they are in the league, so they deserve to be there, so we have to make sure we're our best tonight.
Just finally, with this rich vein of form that you've found, where do you hope that will take you between now and the end of the season?
Well, first and foremost, to get to 50 points as quick as possible. We set small goals all season. We don't get too far ahead of ourselves. We've had a good sort of 8 points from 4 games. Has been key to pulling us away from sort of danger areas. What we can't do is let our standards drop. If you let your standards drop at this level, then you fall away quickly and you can get sucked into things. So we've got to make sure we're consistent with our performances individually and collectively, and just keep amassing points as quickly as possible.
Neil, thank you.
Pleasure.
Top man, good luck.
Tim was nowhere near starting it. He was
funny.
quite adamant there, wasn't he? In terms of the Millwall, though, the Millwall from last season, how has this team evolved?
I would imagine when he's recruiting players, it's very difficult. Some players want to play in a pure form, centre-half split and midfielders dropping in. So in terms of recruiting that type, obviously with financial restraints, he's had to be very clever. He also has to sign the right type of character that's willing to buy into what he's doing, and I think he does that really, really well. How he's evolved it is he's got better players in. He's got better quality and he's got more competition now within the squad. We've seen tonight with the team selection centre midfield, he's able to tweak things again. That's the way I think he's done it. I don't think he's changed a hell of a lot tactically.
And how do you see him evolving as a manager, Paul?
Yeah, I think he's obviously learning, maturing all the time. Obviously, he's done a fantastic job, ever since he took charge, really, and he's improved the club on the pitch every season that he's managed. And I think that you've got to give credit to the chairman, John Berylson, and also the then chief executive, Andy Ambler. I think they helped guide, obviously, a relatively inexperienced manager at the time in his first job, and helped him to sort of have the freedom to make those mistakes. And like Keith was saying, really, he's just been very shrewd. Obviously, he knows the identity of this football club inside out. And I think when he took over, he felt that maybe there was a disconnect between the team and the fans. And he wanted to put a team back on the pitch that the fans could identify with, and really had that Millwall spirit, which is vital to any success at this club.
Yeah, is there a feeling that there are some managers fans just don't take to? There are some managers that fans love, and this is just a perfect fit here.
Exactly. I mean, it's always a difficult one. We were saying earlier, when you've been such a good player for a club and got that legacy, sometimes when you take that managerial role almost by the kind of popular opinion, it's a difficult one. But knowing Chopper personally and having played with him, I knew he was going to be the ideal fit for the job. I always saw him being a manager here, but not only that, being a successful manager. And lo and behold, I'm so pleased for him that he has done.
He's certainly doing that.